Let me tell you about the night the Emotionless King met his match. Wonho had spent 3 years perfecting the art of feeling nothing. Women? Invisible. Love? Dead and buried. The entire underworld agreed this man would never fall again. And then came Iris Desmond, a broke law student delivering food on a dying scooter, who almost became roadkill under his SUV and decided to yell at him about it. She had no idea who he was. He had no idea she was about to ruin him in the best possible way. "Are you blind? You could have killed me." The girl had screamed at him while jumping off her battered scooter, rain dripping from her yellow jacket. He stepped out of his armored black SUV, ready to destroy whoever dared cross his convoy. His security team stiffened, hands moving toward weapons. No one spoke to the Emotionless King like that. No one. But then he saw her. Iris Desmond, a delivery girl with fire in her voice and zero fear in her eyes, standing her ground against men who made grown criminals tremble. One breath away from death. That's all it took for 3 years of ice to crack. She didn't know who he was. She didn't bow. She didn't tremble. And that made something long dead inside him stir awake. If you're loving this dark Mafia romance already, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss our intense underworld love stories. Drop a comment telling me, are you team love at first sight or team love is built through fire? Now, let's dive into Wonho and Iris's dangerous, forbidden love story. Iris Desmond had exactly $237 in her checking account, a father buried in medical debt, and a pride that wouldn't let her quit. Hot meal delivery. Order 472, she called out, her voice cutting through the evening chaos of Koreatown, phone wedged between her shoulder and ear as she balanced 3 delivery bags on her rattling scooter. She was studying law by day, chasing justice in textbooks. By night, she was just another faceless worker racing against time for tips that barely covered her father's physical therapy bills. Every delivery meant $10 more. Every late night meant one more day her family stayed afloat. She didn't have time for love. She didn't have room for danger. But fate doesn't ask permission. Iris stared at the card for 3 days. Heavy black cardstock. Gold embossed lettering. An address in Tribeca that didn't belong to any restaurant she could find online. Just coordinates to what looked like money she'd never touch. Come tomorrow. Noon. She should have thrown it away. Should have forgotten the SUV, the rain, the man with eyes like winter storms. But her father's medical bills didn't care about should-haves. And something about the way Wonho had looked at her, not through her, not past her, but at her, made curiosity burn hotter than caution. Tuesday morning, she stood outside a building that screamed old money. No sign. No menu in the window. Just frosted glass doors and a doorman who somehow knew her name. Miss Desmond. He's expecting you. Iris smoothed down her white blouse, the nicest thing she owned that didn't smell like cooking grease. High-waisted brown trousers she'd borrowed from her roommate. Cheap flats that pinched her toes. Hair freshly braided back because she needed every advantage she could get. The restaurant was empty. Completely empty. Marble floors, crystal chandeliers, tables set like museum displays. And at the center of it all sat Wonho, wearing a tailored black suit that probably cost more than her entire year's tuition. He stood when she entered. Gestured to the chair across from him. You came. You made it sound important. Iris sat, refusing to fidget. What's this about? I have a problem. Wonho's voice was measured, calm. My restaurant empire runs on logistics. Deliveries. Supply chains. Routes. The person managing it is stealing from me. And you want me to, what? Spy. Replace them. Iris laughed. Actually laughed. I'm a law student who delivers dumplings on a scooter. You can't be serious. You optimized 6 delivery routes in your head while arguing with my security team. He slid a folder across the table. You reorganized the bags by temperature zones without thinking. You have the mind I need. She opened the folder. Saw a salary that made her throat tight. Triple what she made now. Health insurance. A contract. What's the catch? No catch. There's always a catch. Iris leaned forward. I'm not doing anything illegal. I won't move drugs, weapons, or money that isn't clean. And I keep my delivery job until I'm sure this isn't a trap. Silence. His security team, two men in dark suits she hadn't noticed before, shifted uncomfortably. Apparently, people didn't negotiate with the Emotionless King. But Wonho's lips curved. Almost a smile. Almost. Agreed. I'm serious. I heard you. He extended his hand. Welcome to my world, Miss Desmond. Iris shook it. His grip was firm, warm, and sent electricity up her arms she absolutely couldn't afford to feel. A woman appeared, elegant, older, sharp-eyed. This is Mrs. Kwan. She runs my flagship location. She'll train you. Mrs. Kwan nodded. We've needed someone with backbone around here. Walking out an hour later with a signed contract and a key card to an empire, Iris texted her father. Dad. I think our luck just changed. She didn't see Wonho watching from the window above. Didn't see the way his expression shifted when she smiled at her phone. The delivery girl had just entered the kingdom of the Emotionless King. And neither of them knew it was already too late to turn back. 6 weeks changed everything. Iris restructured the entire delivery network in the first month. Routes that used to take 90 minutes now took 45. She negotiated better rates with suppliers, implemented a real-time tracking system using nothing but Excel and determination, and personally fired 3 managers who'd been skimming profits for years. Revenue jumped 17%. Employee complaints dropped to 0. And Wonho couldn't stop watching her. She arrived every morning in soft sweaters and dark jeans, hair pulled upward in a bun, laptop bag slung over one shoulder. Sometimes she wore button-down shirts with the sleeves rolled to her elbows, reading glasses perched on her nose as she reviewed delivery manifests. She worked like someone who understood hunger, efficiently, relentlessly, without wasting a single second. The kitchen staff loved her. She remembered their names, asked about their families, stayed late to help prep when they were short-handed. Drivers started calling her boss before they called anyone else. Mrs. Kwan told Wonho outright, that girl is the best thing that's happened to this business in a decade. He knew. He watched from his balcony office as Iris trained new hires in the courtyard below, her laughter cutting through the afternoon noise. Watched her negotiate with a difficult vendor over the phone, voice steady and unyielding until the man agreed to her terms. Watched her grab coffee with the night shift coordinator, sharing her notes without being asked. Wonho started scheduling unnecessary meetings. Weekly reports became daily check-ins. He asked questions he already knew the answers to just to hear her voice, watch her hands move when she got excited about solutions. His second-in-command, June, finally said something. Boss, the men are talking. About? You. Her. June hesitated. They're saying the Emotionless King is changing. Wonho's expression didn't shift. Tell them to focus on their jobs. But June was right. The underworld noticed everything. Rival families whispered. Allies grew curious. Everyone wondered what kind of woman could make Wonho call meetings just to sit across from her. Iris noticed too. If you are enjoying this story, click subscribe, like this video, and comment what time it is that you are watching this video. Now, let's get back to the story. She felt his eyes on her during presentations. Caught him memorizing the way her hair bounced when she moved. Saw how his jaw tightened when male employees stood too close. She ignored it. Had to. Getting involved with her boss, especially one who radiated danger like cologne, was a complication she couldn't afford. She had a father to support, a degree to finish, a future to build that didn't include bulletproof SUVs and men whose tattoos told stories of violence. But ignoring Wonho was like ignoring gravity. One Thursday evening, she worked late reorganizing the cold storage inventory. Everyone had gone home. The restaurant hummed with empty silence. She didn't hear him approach. You're still here. Iris jumped, spinning to find Wonho in the doorway, suit jacket gone, sleeves rolled, dragon tattoo visible along his forearm. Just finishing up. She closed her laptop. Did you need something? No. He stepped closer. Yes. The air changed. Tightened. Wonho. You should go home, Iris. It's late. But he didn't move. Neither did she. Ice was beginning to crack. And they both heard it breaking. The invitation came on a Friday. Not through email. Not through Mrs. Kwan. Wonho himself appeared at Iris's desk at 11 p.m., hands in his pockets, expression unreadable. Have dinner with me. Iris looked up from her spreadsheet. It's almost midnight. I know what time it is. Wonho. Just dinner, Iris. Nothing more. His voice dropped. Unless you're afraid. She should have said no. Should have grabbed her bag and left. But pride and curiosity were dangerous companions, and Iris had never backed down from a challenge in her life. Give me 20 minutes. She changed in the staff bathroom, grateful she'd kept the emerald dress her roommate insisted she buy for emergencies. Knee-length fitted, the kind of thing that made her feel like someone who belonged in rooms like this. She freed her braids, letting her natural curls fall loose around her shoulders. Added the thin silver necklace her father gave her for her 21st birthday. When she entered the private dining hall, her breath caught. Candles. Dozens of them, casting liquid gold across white tablecloths. The entire restaurant dark except for this one room. And Wonho, waiting in a fresh black shirt, top button undone, dragon tattoo curling along his collarbone like a promise of danger. He pulled out her chair. Sat across from her. A single bottle of wine between them, 2 glasses, and enough tension to shatter windows. You didn't have to do all this, Iris said quietly. I wanted to. Dinner was simple. Perfectly cooked steak, roasted vegetables, conversation that felt too easy for 2 people who shouldn't fit together. He asked about her father, her studies, her dreams of becoming a human rights attorney. She asked about his restaurants, carefully avoiding questions about the empire everyone whispered about. But the air kept tightening. Every glance held too long. Every accidental brush of hands electric. Finally, Wonho stood. Moved around the table. Leaned down, one hand braced on the back of her chair, close enough that Iris could smell cedar and rain and something darker. She looked up. He looked down. Candlelight caught the sharp angles of his face, the intensity in his eyes that made her feel seen and terrified and desperately alive. I shouldn't want you, Iris whispered. Why not? Because you're dangerous. Because I don't belong in your world. Because you don't choose who wakes your soul, Iris. His voice was rough, barely controlled. Trust me. I tried. The space between them evaporated. His hand moved to cup her jaw, thumb brushing her cheek. Her breath hitched. His eyes dropped to her lips. Almost. They were almost there. And then Iris stood abruptly, breaking the spell. I should go. Iris. Thank you for dinner. Her voice shook. She grabbed her bag, didn't look back. Good night, Wonho. She left him standing there in candlelight, hand still raised, jaw tight. Wonho didn't move for a full minute. Just stood in the empty room, feeling something he'd buried 3 years ago clawing its way to the surface. Control. He'd built his empire on control. On ice. On never feeling anything that could be used against him. But Iris Desmond was melting him from the inside out. And for the first time in 3 years, the Emotionless King felt desire. Raw. Undeniable. Dangerous. The ice was cracking. And he was letting it. The meeting took place in a private room above a Flushing restaurant that served as neutral ground. 5 families. 1 table. Enough firepower in the room to start a small war. Wonho sat at the head, perfectly still, while territorial disputes and profit margins were discussed with the civility of businessmen and the underlying threat of executioners. Then Kang Dae-sung cleared his throat. There's another matter. The Kang Triad patriarch smiled like a shark. My daughter, Yuna. Beautiful, educated, connected. A union between our families would strengthen both territories. Consolidate power. The room went quiet. Political marriages weren't proposals. They were transactions. Alliances sealed in blood and ceremony that kept the underworld balanced. No, Wonho said simply. Dae-sung's smile tightened. You haven't even met her. I don't need to. Wonho, think strategically. I said no. June, seated beside Wonho, tensed. Refusals like this had consequences. The Kang family controlled the ports. Rejecting them publicly was dangerous. Dae-sung leaned back, reassessing. I see. The rumors are true then. What rumors? That the Emotionless King has found himself distracted. Daesung's eyes glittered with malice. By a delivery girl, no less. Some nobody running errands for your restaurants. The temperature in the room dropped. Wonho didn't move. Didn't blink. But every man present felt the shift, the way violence became a living thing coiled in his silence. Speak her name again, Wonho said softly, and your bloodline ends. It wasn't a threat. It was a statement of fact delivered with the calm certainty of someone who'd already calculated how to dismantle an empire. Daesung's face flushed. You'd start a war over some girl? I'd end one. Wonho stood, buttoning his suit jacket. This meeting is over. June followed him out, but the message was already spreading. Whispers moved through the underworld like wildfire. The Emotionless King had shown emotion. Had protected someone. Had made himself vulnerable. The wolves started circling. Iris felt it before she understood it. Eyes on her during deliveries. Cars that followed too long. Men in expensive suits watching from across the street. She wasn't naive. She'd grown up in neighborhoods where danger had a face, but this felt different. Calculated. Patient. Predatory. She mentioned it to Mrs. Kwan, who went pale and immediately made a phone call. That night, Wonho appeared at her apartment. No warning. Just a knock at 10 p.m. that made her heart race for all the wrong reasons. You need to be more careful, he said without preamble. Careful about what? About being seen with me. About working for me. His jaw was tight. Things are complicated right now. What kind of complicated? He didn't answer. Just studied her cramped studio, the textbooks stacked on a thrift store desk, the framed photo of her and her father. This world so far removed from his own. I've assigned security. You won't see them, but they're there. Wonho, you're scaring me. Good. He moved closer, cupped her face with surprising gentleness. Fear keeps you alive. Promise me you'll be careful. I promise, but... He kissed her forehead. Brief. Devastating. Then left without another word. Iris stood frozen, fingers touching where his lips had been. Outside, Wonho climbed into his SUV, nodding to June. Double the surveillance. No one gets within 50 feet of her. Boss, if the families find out you're protecting her this openly, let them find out. June exhaled slowly. You know what this means. I know exactly what it means. Love had become a liability in a world built on blood. And Wonho was willing to burn it all down to keep her safe. For 2 weeks, Iris avoided him. Buried herself in work. Rescheduled meetings. Left early when she sensed him approaching. Because feeling safe in Wonho's presence terrified her more than the shadows following her home. But avoidance only worked until he cornered her in her own office. Dinner. Tonight. Please. Support the channel by clicking subscribe, liking this video, and commenting how this story is making you feel so far. Now let's move on. The please broke her. She borrowed heels from her roommate. Wore a cream silk blouse tucked into a black skirt that made her feel elegant and exposed all at once. Let her curls fall natural because he'd once mentioned he liked them that way. The same private dining hall. Same candlelight. But everything felt different now, heavier, inevitable, like standing at the edge of a cliff and knowing you were going to jump. Wonho was already there, no suit jacket, just a black dress shirt and an expression that looked almost vulnerable. They sat. Ate in silence. The weight of unspoken words suffocating. Finally, Iris set down her fork. Why me? What? You could have anyone. Models, heiresses, women who understand your world. Why a broke law student who delivers takeout? Wonho's fingers tightened around his wine glass. For a long moment, he didn't speak. Then, I had someone once. Her name was Ji-yoon. Iris went still. We grew up together. She was supposed to be safe. My father promised her family protection. But there was a betrayal. A rival family wanted to send a message. His voice was hollow, mechanical. They killed her instead of me. Made me watch. I was 23. Wonho. I buried her on a Tuesday. Buried my heart with her. Decided I'd never feel anything again because feeling meant vulnerability. Vulnerability meant death. He looked up, eyes dark with old pain. For 3 years, I kept that promise. Until a delivery girl yelled at me in the rain and made me feel something I thought was dead. Iris stood slowly, moving around the table. Wonho tracked her movement, but didn't speak. She stopped in front of him, placed her hand over his heart, felt it beating fast and strong beneath her palm. Then let me teach it how to beat again. The words broke something in him. Wonho stood abruptly, one hand sliding into her hair, the other wrapping around her waist, pulling her close. He gave her one last chance to run, waited, breathing hard, searching her eyes. Iris answered by closing the distance. The kiss was desperate, inevitable. 3 years of grief crashing against weeks of resistance. His mouth claimed hers like he was drowning and she was air. Her hands fisted in his shirt, pulling him impossibly closer. When they finally broke apart, foreheads pressed together, breathing ragged, neither could speak. "This is dangerous," Iris whispered. "I know. People want to hurt me because of you. I know. I'm probably insane for doing this. Probably." His thumb traced her jaw. "But I can't let you go. I tried. God, I tried. So what do? We see where this goes. Together." He kissed her again, softer this time. "I'll keep you safe, Iris. I swear it." She wanted to believe him. Wanted to pretend love conquered all. But she'd seen enough of his world to know promises were written in blood. Still, she nodded. The emotionless king finally felt. And neither of them realized that feeling would cost them everything. Thursday night, 11:47 p.m. Iris finished her last delivery run in her old gray hoodie, ripped jeans and worn sneakers, the uniform of her other life, the one that existed before Wonho. She'd insisted on keeping the delivery job despite his protests. Needed the normalcy. Needed to remember who she was before silk blouses and private dinners. Her phone buzzed. A text from Wonho, "Done for the night?" She smiled, typing back while walking to her scooter. One more stop. Home by midnight. The blow came from behind. Pain exploded across the back of her skull. Her phone clattered to the pavement, screen cracking. Strong hands grabbed her arms. A cloth pressed over her mouth, chemical sweet, suffocating. Iris fought, kicked, tried to scream. But the world was already tilting, darkening. The last thing she saw was her scooter being kicked over, headlight shattering against concrete. Then nothing. June found the scene first. Scooter wrecked. Phone destroyed. Delivery bags scattered across the alley like evidence of violence. No blood, but the tire marks told a story. Van, at least 2 men, professional extraction. He called Wonho at 12:33 a.m. "Boss, it's Iris." 2 words that changed everything. Wonho was in his penthouse office, reviewing shipment routes. The glass of whiskey in his hand stopped halfway to his lips. "Say that again." "She's gone. Taken from her delivery route. We found her scooter destroyed in an alley off 32nd Street. Silence. The kind that preceded earthquakes. Then, in a voice so calm it was terrifying, "Find her. We're all ready." "I didn't ask what you're doing. I gave you an order." Each word precise, surgical. "Activate every contact. Call in every favor. Burn every bridge if you have to. I want every camera within 5 blocks pulled. Every informant questioned. Every rival family visited." June had served Wonho for 8 years. Had seen him negotiate million-dollar deals and execute traitors without blinking. But he'd never heard this barely controlled devastation wrapped in ice. "Consider it done." Wonho ended the call. Stood motionless for exactly 10 seconds. Then he destroyed the office. Glass shattered. Furniture overturned. The expensive whiskey bottle exploded against the wall. 3 years of carefully constructed control evaporating in violent fury. When June arrived 20 minutes later, Wonho was standing amid the wreckage, suit jacket gone, knuckles bleeding, expression carved from stone. "Kong family?" June asked quietly. "That's where we start." By 2 a.m., every player in Manhattan's underworld knew the emotionless king's woman had been taken. By 3 a.m., terrified informants were giving up information without being asked. By 4 a.m., 3 king properties had been raided, 2 warehouses burned, and 7 men hospitalized. By dawn, the message was clear: return her or face annihilation. Daesung Kong received a single text from an unknown number: "You have 24 hours. After that, I erase your family from existence." In his 60 years controlling the underworld, Daesung had never felt real fear. Until now. Mrs. Kwon found Wonho at sunrise, standing at his office window overlooking the city, still wearing yesterday's blood-stained shirt. "We'll find her," she said gently. "They took her because of me." His voice was hollow. "Because I was selfish. Because I thought I could have something good without consequences." Wonho. If they hurt her. He turned, and Mrs. Kwon saw what few ever witnessed: the Emotionless King breaking. "If they hurt her, I'll burn this entire city down." It wasn't a threat. It was a promise. The king had gone to war, and mercy was no longer an option. The warehouse sat on the edge of the East River, rusted and forgotten, the kind of place where screams disappeared into water and wind. Iris had been conscious for 6 hours, bound to a metal chair, wearing the same torn gray hoodie and ripped jeans, face bruised, but eyes blazing with defiance. 3 Kang soldiers guarded her. The youngest kept staring, uncomfortable. "Your boyfriends caused us a lot of trouble," the lead guard said, circling her. "Cost us 2 warehouses and about a dozen men." "Good." Iris's voice was hoarse, but steady. "He's just getting started." The slap came fast. Her head snapped sideways, copper flooding her mouth. Big talk for someone tied to a chair. Iris spit blood at his feet. "You have no idea what's coming for you." She was right. Wonho arrived at 4:47 a.m. with 20 men, 3 vehicles, and enough firepower to level the building. No negotiation. No warnings. June tried once. "Boss, we could." "I'm done talking." The assault was surgical. Brutal. Efficient. Doors exploded inward. Flashbangs turned night to day. Wonho moved through the warehouse like death personified, each shot precise, each movement calculated, the dragon tattoo on his neck visible as he eliminated threats with cold efficiency. Kong soldiers fell. Some tried to fight. Most tried to run. None succeeded. The gunfight lasted 4 minutes. Felt like eternity. Smoke and cordite, and the specific silence that follows violence. Then Wonho saw her. Center of the warehouse. Still bound. Still breathing. Bruised but unbroken. Their eyes met across the carnage. Everything else disappeared. He crossed the distance in seconds, dropping to his knees, hands shaking as he cut her restraints. "Iris. God, Iris. You came," she whispered, voice breaking. "Always." He cupped her face, thumbs gentle on her bruises, checking for serious injuries. "I will always come for you. Always." She collapsed into him, finally letting herself break. He held her like she was made of light and air and everything good he'd thought he'd lost. "I'm sorry," he breathed into her hair. "I'm so sorry. This is my fault." "Wonho." She pulled back, meeting his eyes. "Get me out of here." He lifted her effortlessly, cradling her against his chest. June appeared at his shoulder. "Police are 3 minutes out. We need to move." They evacuated like ghosts, vehicles vanishing into pre-dawn darkness, evidence disappearing, witnesses silenced by fear or loyalty. In the SUV, Iris sat pressed against Wonho's side, his arm locked around her, heartbeat thundering beneath her ear. "How many?" she asked quietly. "How many what? How many men did you bring to get me back?" "Everyone." His voice was rough. "I would have brought an army. Would have torn this city apart brick by brick." She looked up at him, this dangerous, powerful man who'd just painted a warehouse red to save her. "The Kong family? Will never touch you again." The promise in his voice was absolute. "No one will." Iris understood then. Truly understood. What she meant to him. What he was willing to destroy to keep her safe. The depth of devotion in a man the world called emotionless. Love in his world wasn't flowers and poetry. It was paid for in blood and violence and unwavering protection. And somehow, impossibly, she loved him anyway. "Take me home," she whispered. "Where's home?" She pressed her hand over his heart. "Wherever you are." Love had been paid for in blood. And neither of them would ever be the same. The King Triad fell in 72 hours. Assets frozen. Alliances severed. Key players disappeared into the night or turned witness. Daesung's empire, built over 3 decades, crumbled like sand beneath the weight of Wonho's calculated fury. The meeting happened in the same neutral restaurant where it had all started. But this time, there was nothing neutral about it. Daesung knelt. The patriarch of the Kang family, a man who'd commanded respect through fear for 30 years, knelt before the emotionless king. "You chose love over empire," Daesung said, voice hollow with defeat. Wonho stood above him, expression carved from ice. "You're wrong." "Then what?" "She is my empire." Wonho's voice was soft, absolute. "Everything else is just territory." The other families watched in silence. The message was clear: challenge Wonho's power and you'd be destroyed. Touch what was his and you'd cease to exist. Daesung bowed his head. "It won't happen again." "No," Wonho agreed. "It won't." 3 weeks later, dawn broke over Manhattan in shades of gold and rose. Iris stood on the penthouse balcony, barefoot, wearing a flowing white satin gown that moved like water in the morning breeze. Her natural curls cascaded free around her shoulders, catching sunlight. She heard Wonho approach, would always recognize his footsteps now, the way he moved through space like controlled danger. He wrapped his arms around her from behind, chin resting on her shoulder, no armor between them. Just a man holding the woman who'd taught his heart to beat again. "Couldn't sleep," he murmured. "Too much on my mind." She leaned back into him. "I've been thinking about school." She felt him tense slightly. "And? I'm finishing my degree. Human rights law, like I planned." She turned in his arms, meeting his eyes. "I won't be your accessory, Wonho. I won't be the woman who gave up her dreams to stand in your shadow." For a moment, silence. Then he smiled. Actually smiled, rare and devastating and real. "Good. I don't want someone who bows." His hands framed her face. "I want a partner. An equal. Someone who challenges me, terrifies me, makes me better than I am. Even if that means I'm barely home. Even if I'm in court defending people who. Especially then." He kissed her forehead. "I fell in love with a woman who screamed at me in the rain. Who negotiated with a crime lord without fear. Who refused to compromise her principles even when it would have been easier." His thumb traced her cheek. "Why would I want you to change now?" Iris felt tears prick her eyes. "I love you." "I know." He pulled her closer. "I love you too. Enough to burn the world down. Enough to build it back up." They stood there as the city woke beneath them, the emotionless king and the delivery girl who'd stolen his heart. He'd ruled Manhattan's underworld with surgical precision and frozen detachment. She'd survived on courage and determination and refused to be broken. Together, they were something neither had imagined, whole. If you want more powerful stories like this, subscribe now, like the video, and comment more stories.